Hey everybody, welcome back to a new season of Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal slowbeef. With me, of course, is my good friend Devious Vacuum.
Hey everybody!
My new friend orenronen.
Good evening.
Your new friend. My old new friend pullahoko.
Hey.
It's Pullahoko, everybody!
It's me.
Hey.
He's back! From outer space!
In Pog form.
My other new friend TurboC.
Hello.
My new friend Jim.
Hey, everybody.
Why are you all new friends? I don't know. I just slipped on somebody and I just decided to go with it. Anyhow.
Well, we're all your new friends, new listeners.
There you go. Exactly.
Well, here at the Shibuya Scramble, everyone is a new acquaintance.
You have amnesia like every visual novel character.
Yes. Like every visual novel character, I'll even say. What's going on? What's happening, everybody?
Not much. I was about to actually got some work stuff going. Oh
yeah, visual novels. What did everybody know about? Did anybody know anything about Shibuya Scramble going in?
I knew a lot about it.
Only that it was from Spike Chunsoft, and it's apparently good.
that there are live action aspects.
Yeah.
It's one of the only games that got a perfect score on Famitsu.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew it had a lot of endings.
Famitsu's just kind of bullshit, though, right?
Famitsu is bullshit, but they don't give perfect scores very often.
Well, I didn't even know what it was, and you told me that, and I was like, wow, that's impressive.
It just sounds impressive.
Any website that talks about games giving anything a perfect score is a miracle.
Wow, Joe's Game Corner gave it 18 stars. Wow.
So this was a Wii game originally, by the way.
What?
For the original Wii.
And you can't tell it all, folks.
What was I gonna say? All right then. Should we just go with it then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
428 Shibuya Scramble.
D-Vac, take it away.
You gotta play it with a controller, first of all. Anybody who's like, hey, I want to get this game for PC, you gotta play it with a controller.
I'm playing it with the keyboard.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm doing it with a keyboard, too.
It did not accept my keyboard. I was trying to figure out which buttons I was supposed to press.
It was being very weird with my keyboard as well, so I plugged in a controller.
And so, yeah, I just plugged in my 360 controller.
This is a bad port. This is not good.
I'm playing it on a virtual machine Windows installation inside of Mac OS. If you want with
That's
hard
That's
mode.
very
That's hard
bold.
mode. Yes.
Yeah, I went to the settings to be like, alright, it's probably configured for controller, so let me just switch that to keyboard, and nope. Your options are PS4 or Xbox.
I started with the PS4 controller, and it was all screwed up. Like, my buttons were all... And there's no, like, remapping within the thing, and I'm just like, let me go dig out the Xbox, and that was fine. But yeah, it was weird.
Wow. I've had my 360 controller that I used to play PC games for like 15 years or however old the Xbox 360 is, and it still fucking works. So, like, great job, because that was like $50. So, yeah. Good job, ancient controller.
Good job, Microsoft, on that one, right?
Yeah, I gotta give them that one. Even though now I'm on a new computer with Windows 10 for this season, gotta give them that one. By the way, after this, please give me all of the Audacity settings that I forgot that were on my old computer. Although Audacity, now that I installed it, for folks, I know podcast enthusiasts out there want to know, like, it comes with the MP3 stuff actually already installed.
Yay.
Instead of you having to do it separately.
It does, finally, the license for that thing.
Yeah.
Man, that was such a long time ago. I forgot about all that.
Oh no,
3,000 years. Anyway, 428 Shibuya Scramble.
Yes.
Fun, high energy. We open. So it's live action, but it's not like live real-time video.
No.
It's
so.
images.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's like a few seconds every now and then.
There's clips. It's not. It'd be wrong to call it an FMV video game, though. It's certainly not that.
Actually, it could have been interesting if it was that, but no, it isn't.
Yeah. It's more like still photography with a lot of neat effects for the majority of it, but yes, there are small video clips.
But it's a lot of photos. They took a lot of photos here.
There's a lot of photos.
Like
yeah.
a visual novel game if all the CGs
It looks
were...
almost like they took video and cut frames out of that.
Yeah, because it would almost be too much. If it really does feel like they just took this all from video.
No, I'm pretty sure it's still photography.
Really?
They didn't yeah. But it was a large production, though. I mean, they did actually have like production people with lighting and background actors.
Wow.
Yeah, it's all very high quality.
So I think the law in Japan says that you can't actually, like, if you take pictures in a public place, you can't put them in a commercial setting. So I'm pretty sure like every person you see in the background here, which are a lot, are either actors or they had to get consent from them.
Yeah, like it's a big thing to have your picture taken when you don't want it to.
And it was shot in Shibuya, in actual Shibuya, which she's impressive herself.
And I cannot imagine how much foot traffic that interrupted.
Yeah, right? Like, because you'd have to, I know because, like, when they film in New York and stuff, too, it's usually just like, yeah, whatever, and some guy with, like, a flag is like, don't walk here, and you can kind of just ignore him or whatever, but...
Yeah, there's a documentary about it on YouTube, about how they shoot it. I'm afraid it has spoilers, though, so I'm not watching it yet.
Okay.
So we should probably mention what the actual Shibuya Scramble is.
Oh yeah, that's a real thing, everyone.
Oh, is it like rush hour kind of thing?
It's like it's the crosswalks that go in every single direction.
Yeah, I think it's the largest crosswalk in the world. It goes in every single direction, and then every time the light turns green, you get like 1,000 people all at once crossing. It's really impressive. There's like a Starbucks that looks over it, and people sit there and just take pictures of people walking.
And the game tells you this, but 428 is like that, I don't know what you really call it, but there's like a thing in Japanese where like you map numbers to syllables, kind of. So like 428 is like Shibuya, like Shibuya, like 428, like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that.
Yeah. It's like, you'll see like other like things like 573 is Konami and 543 is Namco, I think. Or 765, I'm sorry. And it's just like... It's a weird thing. There's just like a lot of words for different numbers in Japanese, so that's a bit gross oversimplification, but
I'm glad you mentioned that though, because I would have tried to figure out what relevance the numbers 428 had the entire game.
So I have another theory on it too, by the way, that there's another reason they chose those, but I think probably after the gameplay, because it's very close to another thing with numbers in it, in the title, but anyhow, what is the game?
I think it's because it has 428 endings.
That's not why.
I hope not.
Yeah, right.
So, we started the game. Make sure to use your controller. We open with a shot of the city. So it's overlooking, helicopter pan over the titular scramble.
Really cool music.
And the rest of Shibuya.
It has like it definitely has a very specific, like, kind of campy vibe to it that just like immediately lets you know, like, this is a comedy and I'm down. Like,
yeah.
this is gonna be a fun time.
Like a TV show about spies kind of music.
Mm-hmm.
It is a very fun theme song.
Yes.
So we're listening to a radio broadcast, and the lady on the radio is saying that there's a hostage situation going on in Shibuya, and she describes the perp and as like a middle-aged man, and then the camera ends up in the back of a van where there is a middle-aged man in a suit that like seems like he's the guy that she's describing, and he's tied up in the back of a van. And he's got a flip phone on his person, and even though he's like tied up and gagged, he's like trying to text on the flip phone, and like he tries to send a text that says, "I have been deceived," signed Alpha, and a girl bangs on the window and is like, "Hey," of the van, and he looks at her, but then he gets a call on his phone, and the car explodes because it was a bomb call. It called the bomb. And the bomb explodes.
And it's very, like, immediately stereotypical. Like, he's got a burlap sack on his head, which you're like, really, nowadays, we're still using burlap sacks with a hole for your eyeball? I don't know.
It's very TV show, yeah.
Yeah.
So the car exploding was also very funny. It's like top down, and it's like, you know, like a spray of an explosion like superimposed on the car.
Yeah.
The budget wasn't that high.
It's very good.
They couldn't actually explode a car in the middle of Shibuya.
Just enough to get the job done.
Yeah. This game skips out on explosions and wigs. Bad on both.
It just has this vibe of like me and my friends went out for a weekend and just took all these photos, which is like the next, if I go to MagFest again, then we're making a visual novel that way during the weekend of MagFest.
Oh yeah, we are.
We don't even have to write the story. We'll just take a bunch of like pictures like full of ominous portents and then like put together a story later.
Why don't we do that now? All right, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, then send them all to me, and I'll make them into a story with no context.
Yeah.
We're copywriting this. Don't steal our idea. We're cutting this.
Yeah, wait. Forget this stupid podcast.
Done it. So
now, yeah.
So then we cut to the first character's story, who's Kano. And we
go to the character selection screen, which tells us that that we can actually select a character.
It is a great character selection scene too. The screen too,
and it reminds me of like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's like almost like a fighting game. Yeah, like everybody's got a little tiny idle animation when you select them.
It's very FMV. It's a very tacky screen, which like really lets you know that this was on the Wii. It's great. I love
it. Honestly reminds me of like a Era 1 PlayStation game.
Yeah, with that like the flat picture you got to choose from, and it's just like sort of inserted on the screen. It's
and like there is some 3D in this game, which we'll get into later, but it feels really cheap. Like the whole thing feels really cheap, but it's like that's part of it.
Yeah. For this chapter we get two characters, but we can only pick one at the beginning because of the tutorial.
Right.
The tutorial's very nice. It's not like the Danganronpa tutorial. It's a lot nicer to you, and polite. So yeah, we select Kano, and this is Kano's story. So we start at 10 a.m. So each chapter is an hour. So this is also 24.
Yeah, that's exactly why I was wondering if that the title, like, you know what I mean? Like 428's kind of close to 24 in a way.
The numbers 4 and 2 are there.
Yeah, you can't spell 428 without 24.
And if you multiply them, it's 8.
And they're all powers of 2.
Yeah. Even.
Each digit.
So tell us about Kano. What's he doing? Who is he?
He's a cop. He's wearing a suit. He's got spiky hair, right? I guess, does he? I didn't think he did. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bad wig that just kind of like, I don't know why, just kind of hangs over him.
Kano is a young detective trying to prove himself, and to that end, he's kind of by the book. Maybe like spirit of the law rather than letter. I don't know. He wants to prove himself.
He's by a book.
Yeah. I guess by the book is wrong because he's very right.
He's intense.
Intense. But
in a fun way.
Mm-hmm. And you're getting the tutorial here, so like you're not technically allowed to do the game mechanics or anything. So you're kind of along the story ride at the start here, and if there's choices, you have to make what the game wants you to for now. But Kano is not tied up. He's with his partner, who's that, Sugiyama, I think his name is, or am I getting Sasayama, excuse me. Who is dressed up like a homeless person, although he looks great. And the idea is the two of them are staking out this what do you call that when you like have to hand off money? Money exchange. This money exchange.
Yeah, there was a kidnapping.
Puzzle exchange?
Yes.
He's giving the ransom money.
That game owns, by the way. Yes. Yes. So, yeah, exactly. So basically, there are cops all over Shibuya undercover watching this girl whose name is escaping me, and I want to say Minato, but I think that's just a restaurant.
Oh, Hitomi.
Hitomi. Close enough. And I'm just gonna say too, I had a lot of trouble with the names in this for some reason, and I don't know why. Anyhow,
May I suggest writing them down?
It's funny. I was like, oh, just Kano, I'll remember, and then I'm like, ooh, yeah. So anyway,
At least you used to get to see them in English all the time. I get to see them in kanji, and I often forget how to read a kanji.
So you remember them by symbols, like, okay, that's turkey, or anything like that? No. Right.
That often happens when I read Japanese novels.
Okay.
So to take a little sidestep, I got a question about some of these characters, or actually they're actors. Like, are these like famous actors?
They're B and C list actors, from what I understand.
Could I have gotten a role in this?
I think some of them got a little more famous after the game came out.
I noticed a few of them are like in Kamen Riders and stuff like that, but
So this is the Until Dawn of Japanese action adventure visual novels.
Yeah, I guess.
So the situation is like so Kano and Sasayama are two of like 50 detectives that are all handling this case of like handing over this ransom money for this kidnapping, and literally everything about this makes me extremely jealous of how much resources they have compared to what I am familiar with as an American.
Don't get too impressed with the Japanese police.
Yeah. Well, because, oh boy, this goes places.
Like, I know this is, like, also hyperbolic, but just, like, the whole thing, I was like, wow, like, look at, they have, like, this whole team and, like, this huge force of people, and, like, working on this case in the background, like, wow. Like,
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, like, some girl got kidnapped. It's not, like, you know, like, this, like, famous person got kidnapped or whatever, you know, it's a big deal. Not.
But I think they're rich people.
Yeah, because the ransom is,
I mean, yeah, that's $500,000.
I was going to say 50 million yen, yeah. Which,
I guess we'll find out more about who they are in later chapters, because we don't know that much about who they are other than this is a girl and her sister. But yeah, so,
A twin sister, by the way.
yes,
that's right.
This girl's twin sister was kidnapped, which I can't wait for them to just be the same actress again. Like,
yeah. I know. Or they'll pull the trick where they actually are twins, maybe. You know how they do that sometime? Yeah, alright.
yeah, and then you're like, wow, they actually cast twins. So she's waiting for whoever the kidnapper is to show up and take the ransom money, and then when the kidnapper takes the ransom money, they're gonna tackle him.
Was this a kidnapping or was it an abduction? Because the game made it really clear that there's a difference.
There's an abduction. Because kidnapping, I think they said, is when you lure a person in, and abduction's when you, like, take them by force.
Yeah.
You know. So, and they said this was the worst of the two crimes, which I think was abduction, if I'm remembering that.
Oh yeah,
correctly.
you can learn things like this, but from the tips. So much like in Steins Gate, there's words that are highlighted, and you can look them up or click on them and look at them in the glossary. And sometimes,
But they're useful things instead of telling you like what Doraemon is.
There are some useful things in there.
Or sometimes they're like dry observations.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I learned that about the Hachiko, the statue. I kind of knew about Hachiko, the dog statue, but there are a couple other popular meetups, which one of them was just like a moai head, and there was one that was just like, I think it was called the Green Frog, which was probably like some early
bus.
model of subway or bus or something.
Yeah, and that's across Hachiko. That's like 2 meters away from Hachiko.
Yeah.
Hachiko is a nightmare. You don't meet people there, because there's like thousands of people over there all the time.
Mm.
So don't use it as a meeting place when you go to Shibuya.
Gotcha.
So the tips in this are great. I really like them. They're written, at least in Japanese, in like this kind of dry humor tone that I really like.
Yeah, it comes across in English as well, like that it's kind of like a little sarcastic, or like a little like...
Yeah, and I did watch it in English, and the tips are the one place where they had to change a lot of things a lot in English, because a lot of them are really, really Japanese specific, like language specific. So this is where the game changes a lot of things. I think maybe if they could change the location of the tip, they would have it would be a better thing to do, because it seems like they really have to put something everywhere as a Japanese tip,
Oh, I see.
and sometimes they struggle.
So that's why some of them are like not useful. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
like some of them are really strange in English, and in Japanese they make more sense. Some of them are completely rewritten because you can't do anything with the Japanese tip the way it's written.
Gotcha. Is there an example that you have of that?
Is there any what?
Like, is there an example of some, like, a tip you'd have in the Japanese version that just doesn't work?
So when we get to that, there's at least one
Okay.
example where they change something.
Well, I don't want to spoil it. You're right. Okay.
The tips are also important, so read them all, because sometimes I'm spoiling, and it's not spoiling like gameplay mechanics here, but sometimes the links you need to follow are in the tips, and not in the main
Oh,
story.
wow.
So look at everything.
Press more buttons. That's good. I mean, when I'm pressing buttons on my controller, I feel like I'm playing a real video game.
Yeah. So that's the thing too, yeah, because there's choices like a typical visual novel, but there's also times when like there's something highlighted in red that will make a choice, but we'll get to what that is in a minute, you know.
So our first choice in the tutorial is our girl that we're watching is standing there next to the dog statue, and a guy approaches her, and our character Kano and his partners, like, they start to react, and they're like, "Oh, is that the guy?" And they start like freaking out, like, "It's him!" And we make the choice of whether we go in or hold off. And in the picture, he's very clearly just like a guy handing out flyers for a restaurant or
Yeah.
something like that, and he's like not a kidnapper. So the obvious choice is to not apprehend him.
Yeah, I like that the tutorial tells you that this choice doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, like even the choice where you go to apprehend him, it's like, oh, I should go grab him. Hey, wait a second.
Yeah. And Sasayama's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Let's talk about, like, I gotta tell you about how hot my wife is. You gotta get married. Yeah.
It's so like unexpected and hilarious that that's what Sasayama brings up to talk about. He just got married, and he's just like, being married is great.
Yeah. And then, like, you know what's funny about it, too? Because I think, like, Kano's annoyed with Sasayama because, like, Sasayama's kind of blowing his cover. Like, it's because he's like,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be a businessman waiting for the scramble here or whatever. And this is, like, a homeless person who's supposed to be, like, kind of bugging me. And I wouldn't be just, like, kind of talking to him. But then Sasayama just, like, doesn't really give a shit. Sasayama, by the way, is pretty much like a cosplayer with these undercover things and really goes all in. And he, like, smells bad and stuff, you know, like, just for... to get into character, I guess, or what he thinks character is. But yeah, like, he's like, so what do you, like, you gotta get married and stuff. And Kano's kind of got this, like, shut up, like, we're supposed to be undercover kind of thing. But then he, like, goes along and talks to him anyway, you know.
And Sasayama asks Kano about his girlfriend, and he's like, you know, are you are you seeing somebody? And he's like, whatever, it's, you know, it's not serious or anything. And he's like, oh yeah, show me your phone lock screen. And Kano takes out a flip phone.
Yeah.
You know, he pulls it out of his pocket.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he takes his phone. But I just love the idea of like a flip phone with a modern style lock screen. That's so funny.
Well, those are the Japanese phones from that area.
I've heard that, yeah, like, I've heard in Asia in general, like, flip phones are still kind of, like, there, like, in style, kind of, or something.
Yeah, this is a game from 2006, I want to say.
Oh, never mind then.
So that's like 1 year before the iPhone. And yeah,
Gotcha.
Japanese phone were flip phones, but they were really advanced flip phones.
Yeah, with like nice big screens in there with, you know, like pictures and stuff.
Gotcha.
I want a phone like that.
Oh, and yeah, they like kept flip phones, and
Remember when the Matrix came out and the Razor was the big thing, like that, like
Oh,
shot
yeah.
out? Yeah.
I literally see flip phones on the train every day, yet, still.
Yeah.
These
'Cause
days.
they're- like, you don't break
In
the
Japan.
screen on a flip phone.
That's true, actually, yeah.
I miss my Motorola Razor.
Seriously.
speaking of the Matrix, if you have not seen the like cover, I guess, for this game, there is a guy on it that looks like they're really trying to emulate Agent Smith on it, and he's just pointing a gun.
Mm-hmm. I get a lot of 24 vibes from this game. Like that, they're not trying to parody the show directly by any stretch, you know. But like, it really just gives it to me. Just from the cell phones and all the action that's going on, etc.
Yeah. The time being important, and switching perspectives.
Yeah, totally.
So, anyways, Kano, it seems like he, like, at first I thought, so his phone screen is a picture of a famous actress, and he's like, no, that's my girlfriend. And at first I thought that was a joke, that he was lying, that he really wasn't seeing anyone. But the way they talk about it, it sounds like maybe he actually is seeing someone, and it actually is this famous actress, but he can't say anything about it for some reason.
I was thinking it was someone who looked a lot like the famous actress, but I think you what you're saying kind of checks out.
I thought it was like them trying to acknowledge that they got this famous actress to play his girlfriend.
Oh, that's...
No, it's a fictional actress. It's not a real actress.
I think one of the tips says that too, right? Sorry, God.
No, I was just gonna,
yeah,
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, I think that, like it because they go over it again and again, like they kind of go back and forth with it 3 times. The guy's like, "Are you sure this isn't this actress?" And the guy's like, "Yeah," but he only says like her nickname, and then he says again, "Are you really? It looks just like her. You're crazy," and then that kind of stuff. So it's like they're kind of emphasizing that maybe it is this person.
Right.
So maybe he's dating a famous actress. How's that going to turn out later in the story? I mean, I think,
in this game about kidnapping of influential people.
Yeah.
The kidnapper's waiting to take the ransom, but he's looking over, and it's like, that homeless guy stole that guy's phone. And they're just talking, right? Like, yeah, this is so bad. But anyway.
So, then Kano has a flashback about the start of the case yesterday, which fills us in on stuff, what happened in the whole story of the kidnapping. And most importantly, we learn that Kano has a diary that he keeps on him, like a little black book of like rules for being a good detective that he calls the Dick Diary.
Yes, he does.
And it seems to be implied that this was like given out by the station. So just first day on the job, all right, here's your Dick Diary.
Yes, exactly. And then I'm like, wait. I was like, I know what the episode title's gonna be. But then you open it up, and it's full of dictums. Which I'm like, wait, maybe I do have another potential title here. You know?
So good.
Yeah.
What I like is he opens the book up, and it's like, it's not written seriously. It's like big, like crayon letters.
It just seems like the Art of War.
It's extremely, it's the style that you write like haiku in, like really self-important, big kanji.
Mm-hmm. It's like written with a brush.
Yeah, like he opened the book and wrote it with a brush.
Like if your first day on the job, they gave you a notebook and wrote in it in big Sharpie letters, "Arrest criminals."
Roll 1.
So, no, I think it's pretty clear that it's his. It's not the station's. He didn't get this from the station.
Yeah. I got the impression he was like, it was a thing he collected from like movies and shit.
I think, yes, they say it's specifically from like an older detective that he really respects. They said the title.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was from the station because he, like, in the bad end, he sort of turns it in.
Well, still, I mean, that could also...
Hand in your Dick Diary and get the fuck out of my office.
Oh my god. So, he has this thing, and yeah, he's trying to be, like, and him and Sasayama talk about this, like, famous, or, like, internally famous, like, famous to them as detectives, this other detective, and, like, how Kano, like, respects him because he saw him, like, talk this guy down during this important case, and he's like, oh, I want to be just like that, and every time that he, like, interacted with this detective, he, like, said different stuff to him and gave him advice, and he wrote it all down in his Dick Diary. And Sasaya was like, why don't police become famous? Police only get on the news when we do something wrong. Why aren't there any famous detectives? I mean, that's a complicated situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, it is. But it tracks, though. That's like, you know, if you have maybe any police in the family or anything like that, that's all you hear about on Facebook is how tough it all is. Just gonna put that out there. Anyway, so what were we talking about?
So there's no there's no vigilantes in this. This takes place in the real world, so like there's no like Batman or whatever that's a famous detective.
Oh, also we skipped over in the flashback. There's Hitomi who talks about her sister got kidnapped, and then there's a English language speaking person. Like I don't know, like they don't give like it's just a foreigner. They don't say where he's from, but called Leland Palmer, which might be the most ham-fisted reference to Twin Peaks. Yeah, it's just the dad from Twin Peaks, which is also a big influence on this game, with all their wacky characters and kind of like almost soap opera
sprawling cast.
Kinda,
Yeah.
Never forget how much Japanese devs loved Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
There's at least one other Twin Peaks reference this episode, so I'm hoping they just continue the entire game with that.
So how much do we learn about the case in this first flashback? We flashback to the two of them showing up on the scene, I think, and interviewing Hitomi.
Yeah, she was supposed to meet her sister at a party somewhere. She was exactly an hour late, and managed to see her get shoved into a car by somebody, and that was corroborated by Leland Palmer, who, I don't know what his relationship to her is.
He's her professor, I believe, in university.
Okay. So yeah, that's what happened. And then she got a phone call saying that they wanted their ransom money, and that they requested her specifically to hand it over.
So we come back to the present after thinking about our dick diary, and this time another young man shows up and tries to take the case. Oh, and she had described the guy in the van as working alone and being a middle-aged man in a business suit, like the guy we saw in the opening. And as this second young man goes and like comes up to Hitomi and like he starts talking to her and he starts like reaching for the case, and that also seems like not correct, but then he's like, well, I could have been working with someone else, I don't know, and they're like, this is the guy, and they run and tackle him, and it's the wrong guy, and while they're tackling him, another man takes the case and runs away, and so Kano is left on top of the first guy, who at this point we may recognize as the other guy that we could have played as this chapter that we didn't pick.
Achiendo, right? Yeah.
Achiendo. And so Kano takes Achi back to the precinct and interrogates him for 5 hours and like looks at all the quotes from his dick diary, all the dick dictums to tell him, but he can't get any information out of him.
Buys him katsudon at one point.
It's the two incompetents talking to each other. It's like the one guy who's like, oh, I guess I'll just keep checking this diary to see my dick diary to see what I should say next, and the other guy being like, man, I could just use some food. What?
Yeah,
I'm having a hard time following along with your questioning right now.
Yeah.
So after 5 hours, he like tricks him into saying something that kind of sounds like a confession, and he runs out and he's like, I got him to confess, and they already solved the case while he was in there.
So, for the record, too, like whatever, like Endo fell asleep, and he was like nodding off is the same as nodding yes, which is how he got the confession, basically. So he is a terrible detective.
Also, he was able to help get this confession by giving him katsudon. Like he just had that ready.
Oh yeah, that's right.
One of the entries in the dick diary was like, what was it? Something to do with hunger?
Truth hungers to be free.
But that's actually a cliche in Japanese dramas, in police dramas.
But his reaction to that was to be like, oh, I guess I'll feed him, because that makes no sense even in context of the quote.
No, it's I don't know. I don't know if it's a real thing. I'm pretty sure it's not. But at least in police dramas, it's usually like a tactic to buy the person you interrogate in katsudon when they're hungry, so they.
Oh really?
Sleep up. Yeah, that's not something the game invented.
What the heck kind of stupid thing is that?
Fully prepared katsudon?
And it's specifically katsudon.
How is that not a comedy thing they did for this? Oh, I'm so mad.
My mind is fucking blown right now.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much.
What would encourage a person to screw up? just because of the Katsudon. Like, what
Like,
element of
Katsudon
that
is very
makes them-
good.
Yeah, but
Is this why it's complicated to talk about Japanese police? Because they make no sense? Like, what? Jeez. I'm so mad.
You just have a chef on staff to make Katsudon.
One thing about Japanese police is that they're usually accused of like doing exactly that, like trying to get a confession in any way, and then the moment they have it, the case is solved.
Yeah.
That one I have heard of, yeah, from different media.
Yeah, 95% conviction rate. Yeah, that's how it happens. Yeah.
So, heartbroken and dejected by the fact that he screwed up, Kano quits his job. He hands in his dick diary and his badge.
It's what you do when you don't have guns.
Yeah, I was gonna say gun, but then I was like, never mind. So
No, he turned in a gun.
yeah, and he leaves, and we get a title card that says "Bad End," and the tutorial says, "Well, we need to make the other character, Achi, make a different decision so that this doesn't happen in Kano's timeline. So we need to make Achi not go up and talk to Hitomi so that he doesn't get tackled by the police. So this is the type of puzzle that is in this game.
Yeah.
So we switch to Achi, and we learn about him.
And you get like a little like, what is it called? A time something. I can't think of the name of it. Like time. Is it just timeline? Like when you hit F2, you
I
go to
think
the
it's just
thing.
timeline.
Time chart, maybe, yeah. 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 And it shows you like where you are with like the two characters and their like parallel tracks and decisions and things like that. It's like if you play like Virtue's Last Reward, they have like a whole flow chart of all the decisions, like a tree, but this is a little more like two parallel lines, and
It's going to be 5 parallel lines in next chapter.
Because every bad decision just like immediately goes to a bad end. It doesn't like go off into like a whole elaborate timeline like the Zero Escape games.
But like it does like a train switch kind of thing where if you make a bad decision, you're kind of locked. Like rather than show you the tree, you only get to go down the path that decision lets you go down, which will eventually end. But like if you go back up, make a different decision, you technically get a different branch. It's just that it's rendered as one line. If that makes sense, like
Yeah, the timeline, the time chart only shows you what the state of the current selections are. Like the result of the current way the selections are chosen in the various timelines.
like that's what makes it like a puzzle too. Like you can't see the whole tree and what all the decisions will do ultimately. Like you have to pick one and kind of see where it leads you and figure out if you have to go back and all that. Plus you have to switch between two characters and make them do different things to kind of like interact, and yeah, there you go.
You kind of have to think of it as like actual time travel, because one of the things that we did for this was we got to the end of the chapter and then we had to go back and get all the bad endings. If you change the state of an earlier time, like you can mess the timeline up again and the rest of the stuff that you found disappears.
Yeah, you have to re-choose the correct options in order to get back to the second chapter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So it's like a flow diagram.
Yeah, it feels like a switchboard that you're messing with, and you're like, all right, what was this one at? You have to go to each one.
Yeah, because I was getting the bad ones like as I got to them versus like doing them at the end. So yeah, that makes sense.
Did you get all 7 at your first playthrough?
I think so. Oh, I guess I did go back after a little while in the tutorial.
I had to go back for one. I don't remember which one, but
Some of them, you don't even know what you're doing until later. So every time you get a bad end, it gives you a hint about what you need to change in order to avoid the bad end, and it's pretty straightforward in chapter 1. Like it's very like you need to do this.
mhm.
It's going to be less straightforward, but I'm still playing hardcore and I'm not looking at the hints.
Wow. Well, with the hints, it's very, very easy. Like it's not challenging at all. So, but that's okay. Like it's not, it's fun. So the hints in this is we need to play as Achi and not go up to Hitomi while she's at the statue. So we switch to Achi's story and we start at the beginning of the hour, like we did with Kano. And we just see Achi, like, he gets up in the morning and he lives with his dad who runs, like, an aging electronics store that's going out of business soon.
The first thing we see is Achi topless.
Oh, right, yes. It starts out by showing his back. Like, this is the hot character.
I think they're trying to show off that he's pretty muscular.
That, and it also almost seems like he's about to full palm slap the VHS tape of his favorite movie, Chronicles of Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick.
VCR. It really does feel like it's like one of those kind of things where like, here comes this badass getting ready to go kick some ass like you expect him to do.
Mm-hmm.
The music that's playing, I wrote in my notes, the music that's playing is extremely Sonic Adventure 2.
D-Vac, you said that this world doesn't have any vigilantes, but Achi is a vigilante. Come on.
That's true. He is. He is a vigilante.
Vigilante for keeping the streets clean.
Yeah.
Literally. God, he's so good.
Can we reveal the superhero name yet? Or do we...
Yeah. Tell us, Slowbeef. Tell us how the scene goes down.
So if I recall, he sees a woman being accosted by two men, and he realizes this is sort of a grift, you know?
Hustlers.
Hustlers, exactly. So he walks up, and, how does he do it? Like, he's like, hey, you gotta throw out that plastic bottle or something.
Well, he's just like, hey, why don't you leave her alone? They're like, how about we kick your ass, you punk? And one of the guys spits his gum on the ground.
That's it, yes. And he just goes ape shit because there's one thing he can't stand, and it is fucking litter.
I remember the way this was written. It was like his last bit of goodwill was disappeared.
It's basically Hulk transforming just because of somebody making some litter on the streets.
Yes, because his superhero name is Mean Clean.
And he's got a little logo on his shirt, too. Like, it's got this mean-looking plastic bottle with, like, the recycle symbol.
Yes, it says, like, eco.
He's trying to make his personal brand happen with his own t-shirt.
We skipped over that. Like, before that, what he was doing was walking around, picking up trash.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a clear plastic trash bag with him. And, like, he basically, like, beats it. Like, he doesn't beat the guy up, really. He, like, grabs his nose, I think, or something like that.
Jaw.
And his jaw,
I don't even
that's
know how that
right.
physically works.
And let's be clear, though, his brand campaign is actually working because these guys recognize him.
They're like, oh my god, Mean Clean, I didn't even realize. I'm sorry.
Such power.
So good.
Does Mean Clean sound at all badass in Japanese?
It's about the same. I don't actually remember what it is in Japanese.
I would imagine it was like Mean Clean in English in Japanese. Was the
No, it's not. It's not. It's something else.
Oh.
It's Echo something. What was it?
Eco Crusader.
Eco Fighter? From Capcom, which is a game. Anyway, sorry.
Echo the Dolphin, yeah.
Yeah, I played this like 2 weeks ago, so I don't remember the details of Japanese.
Yeah, in the photographs, Echo's on his shirt, and but like they have to go to like a separate graphic when they were like, "Oh, it's Mean Clean," and they cut it to the side. It's not actually on his shirt.
Right.
Mean Clean is very good, though. I'm glad that they changed it
Yeah.
to that in English.
Yeah, that's pretty great. That's a strong brand.
So the decision we have to make for Achi is basically as he continues his patrol, he sees Hitomi there in front of the statue holding this heavy briefcase, and he is like, "Oh, I should help her. Like, she's clearly struggling to hold this heavy briefcase."
Before that, he has this really there's this passage I like about him thinking about the city as a living body.
Oh yeah, and he's
With
like,
blood cells, and they can decide if it's the red blood cells or the white blood cells.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There's almost like an Arrested Development narration where they're like, yeah, Achi isn't too smart. He means white blood cells.
yes, that was great.
Yeah,
That
he
was
kind of
wonderful.
owns, honestly. I think I really like Achi.
Yeah, and he is, canonically very stupid, too, which I love.
Yeah, dumbass with a heart of gold. So we make the selection to choose to have him dump his trash bag first before he goes and talks to Hitomi, which makes him not walk up to her at the time that the police would tackle him.
There's another bad ending here. So the tutorial tells you to do that, but there's another bad ending here if you choose to do the exact same thing that happened before. So you see...
Yes, and you get tackled from his perspective.
Yeah, and then you see that entire scene from his perspective, which is a little different. And then the end of something that I think is like foreshadowing. His father comes pick him up and tells him he has something to tell him.
That's right, yeah.
And then it ends, and then we get another bad ending. But I'm feeling this is important. in some way.
He said, "Son, I was the original Mean Clean."
I took off that mask for a reason.
He's got a clean cave underneath his apartment.
And so we switched back to Kano's timeline after we make the correct decision. And so then, instead of Achi walking up to her, there's like a very clearly suspicious man, like comedically suspicious man, takes the case.
Also a foreigner.
And yes, yeah, you can tell right away. Like, yeah, he's a like a white guy. He looks like vaguely like Eastern European, and he's wearing all black, and he's just like beat up looking, and it's like, oh man, that guy looks suspicious.
It's like that guy writes home and is like, you wouldn't believe the jobs I keep getting in Japan as a dangerously looking foreigner. You know, I just keep getting cast and everything. I can't believe it.
Turns out he's really nice.
Of course. And the suspicious man takes the case from Hitomi, and they're like, that's him! And instead of running away, he runs toward them. And we end on this cliffhanger, because then it says, keep out. And that tells us that we can't advance any further in Kano's story until we advance there in Achi's story, and then jump over to Kano's timeline, which is a little confusing, but sure.
Mm-hmm.
So to continue, we switch back to Achi's story, and we go through, like, the same thing again.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is them just gatekeeping, making sure that you're doing more than one character at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also going to be like part of the puzzle, because you have to find those jump points, and they're not always obvious how to get to them.
So in this case, it's pretty straightforward. It's just a choice. So Achi is like, something's going on here that's wrong, and I think the options are like, I'm gonna help that girl, or just another crazy day in Shibuya. They must be filming a TV show. I'm gonna leave.
Yep. I picked that one because I figured that would lead to a bad ending.
Oh, it's such a good bad ending too, because he's just the camera slowly pans up to the sky as he's like, and he walked out there. He was thinking about like, oh, I guess they shoot things all over the place, and man, I serve lots of more trash to pick up around here, and I'm sure everything's going to work out just eventually well for everyone involved in this situation. And the camera just goes to the sky, and then you just get the drop of the bad end.
So when we choose to get involved, then we get red tooltip text, and we select that to jump to Kano's story. So it's just like a teeny little scene, and then we jump back to Kano's story, and we're through the keep out. And it was a little confusing to me, because I definitely, it took me a minute to realize that then, in order to continue Achi's story, you had to, go back and, go through the jump, right? Like not select the jump,
Yeah.
but still, go through all that dialogue. So that was a little confusing.
Yeah, it also isn't, the autoplay is not fast in this game.
No.
It is thankfully configurable, but the high speed setting is not very high.
So, we go to Kano's story, and they start chasing after the guy,
Right.
And we have a choice of, do we pursue? Oh, we get a call from HQ, from the chief, who apparently squeaks when he gets upset, but we don't ever get to hear that, which is such a weird detail because it's not voiced.
You're a loose cannon cop.
So that's one thing they did change in English, by the way.
They what?
In Japanese, this is one thing they did change in English. In Japanese, he doesn't squeak. He goes. He starts talking like a woman, like with the woman and sentence.
Oh, I see.
And there's an entire tooltip about that. That basically explains that some men do that because they have the heart of female heart.
I see.
All right.
And the localization team's like, not
touching that one.
I'm good.
No, and also in English you don't have female and male speech. In Japanese you do.
Oh, it's the speech. I thought it was the voice for a sec. Got it. Yeah.
No, it's a speech.
Wow.
They start using certain words that usually only women use.
Yeah.
There's such a thing in Japanese language.
Can I tell you something too, by the way? Because I used a lot of like teach yourself Japanese for busy people, those textbooks, and my friend who lived there like was helping me like very early on, and she's like, "You sound great, but you sound like a woman," because they all teach you like the most polite way to say things, which is the woman's speech. Yeah.
So this is very common over here when foreign guys have Japanese girlfriends, and that's the main communication point. So they talk like women because that's who they talk to. That's who they learn Japanese from. It's not just first person pronouns. There's an entire like system that has like very female and male connotations depending on your choice.
Right.
Interesting.
Like yeah. I'm saying yeah. I'm just agreeing with Oren. I don't know, but yeah, it's yeah, you know.
So they change this to the high pitched, and then they had to change the tip that goes along with it to something that doesn't really make much sense.
Example number 4,000 of why localization is not easy.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah, Jesus.
What are you talking about? You just do a 1-to-1 translation. It's easy.
Yeah, what the fuck? Why
Just
would
don't
you
use your
point out immediately
imagination.
that he's talking like a girl. Like, look at him talking like a girl. You know?
Gamers rise up. All right, sorry.
Give him a Valley Girl accent. Oh man. So we need to. So let's see. Okay, so the next choice that Kano has is: do we pursue the perp on or let the team handle it? Because the boss is like, let the team handle it. We're like, it's gonna, you fall back and.
I think we skipped that the guy actually like ran into the scramble, the crosswalk.
Yeah.
When the light was red, so into the cars and Kano followed him. Kano ran after him, even though.
Oh yeah, he had to like
Oh yeah, he does like a cool move.
I almost expected a bad end there, like where we get run over.
Yeah, because there's a sound cue of like screech, and then it sounds like something got hit, and I'm like, oh crap, that's a bad end. We just got hit by a car, but no, it's just one of those things where you both miraculously made it all the way through.
Kano can't die. Yeah. He's a bad detective, but he's a good action hero, basically.
Not in this timeline.
He's going to die in the very next bad ending.
Oh, that's true. Actually, yeah, you're right. He's a terrible action hero.
Yeah, that's surprisingly in this next ending coming up right now.
So Kano, like, he clearly, like, doesn't want to stand down. He wants to go after this guy. He's like, this is our only chance. And, like, it flashes, like, a dictum about, like, how you shouldn't let the guy get away. And so it's, like, telling you, like, he should disobey orders. Then we have the choice. Do we want to obey orders and fall back, or disobey orders and continue pursuit? And, either one will get you shot and killed because we haven't done the right action on Achi's route in order to move forward on Kano's route. So it's another way. It's not a keep out, but it like locks you out of doing anything until you do something on the other route.
And just to be clear, this is not our fault. The game makes you do it, okay? So we're still good at video games.
Yeah, we're not playing badly, you are.
The game is being unfair is what it's not the audience's fault.
We're just getting all the bad ends for completionist's sake.
Achievements.
Is there an achievement for getting all the
Probably.
bad?
Yeah, I guess you didn't get them.
But we also need a certain number of bad endings to see the extra scenarios after the end game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
50.
Whoa.
Yeah, 50. I think there's close to 100 in total.
Whoa.
Well, so we'll probably handily make that.
Just like 24. Yep. All right.
So we have to play as Achi, and then play through the jump, and then make him choose to talk to Hitomi and not walk away and be like, "Oh, it must be filming," and then we're in Achi's route, and he sees the perps, and he IDs the perp. But when Kano runs up to them, he kicks Kano, and they get into a fight. And then it's like, no, that's not it. Kano shouldn't be here. So then we have to go back to Kano's story and be like, no, don't fall back and run back toward Hitomi. You should keep, following the perp so that you're not there for Akachi for. Oh God, I'm gonna fucking say Akechi in this. For Achi to hit.
Wait, who's Akechi?
From Persona 5.
Oh, okay.
You want to avoid
every
Adachi.
detective thing is also. Oh yeah, see, we're very close. We're very close. to just talking about persona in any detective context. Let's see. So then Kano has to disobey orders, and he runs after the perp, and then but then he ends up running into Achi and Hitomi after all, like they fled the scene, and Achi and Kano get into a fight again, so we have to switch over to Achi's route and then make him take a different path so that he doesn't run into Kano at that exact point. So we make them go to the police box first. Of course, it's empty because all the fucking detectives are in Shibuya Scramble looking for the kidnapper.
50!
Yeah.
Like they're running like 7-year-olds chasing the soccer ball. Like there's just 50 cops who are just like, oh, gotta go that way. Oh.
I do want to say that this is funny. Whenever Achi is with Hitomi and they're running away, he refuses to just dump his garbage. Like, he has to put it in a proper receptacle or give it to somebody who will put it into a proper receptacle.
Oh no, he mentions it all the time too. Like, damn it, this garbage is weighing me down, but gotta find somewhere to put it.
See, like, that's why I can't figure out if Kano is Jack Bauer for his, like, bad police work and wanting to disobey orders, or if Achi is for his, like, dogged persistence, even though in this case it's about trash. So here's the thing, like, also, there's a great shot that happens where it's, like, first person from Achi's perspective where he's holding Hitomi's hand. That is wonderful. It's like, I don't know why I love this shot so much, but she's just
right, it's that Instagram stereotype shot where, like, the person taking the photo has having their hand held by the girl in the shot, like she's, like, pulling you.
Yeah, exactly. It looks so stupid, but, like, so, like...
It draws you what I mean? Like, it really does engage you,
It's way before that was a stereotype, so that's very funny. So we make it through, so we have to bounce back and forth, and then we end up as Achi leading Hitomi away from the scene, and the middle-aged man in the suit appears. He also has a cane, and he also has a gun, and he pulls out the gun, and he's gonna shoot Hitomi, but Achi pulls her away, and they keep running, and they go to the police box, but nobody's there. And then they end up at a, like, abandoned cafe or abandoned, like, hostess club or something like that, and it's called the Log Lady.
Yeah.
It's a snack bar. Do you know what a snack bar is?
No.
It sounds like somewhere I want to go.
Wait a minute, because isn't it like a hostess club or something, really?
It's not really a hostess club. It's like, they're really, really, really small. And it's basically a bar, but the waitresses are women that talk to the customers. And
like a It's like a Hooters, I guess.
Oh, so it's not like a snack bar, like a delicious nutrient bar full of jelly.
No, it's like yeah, this snack.
Go look at snack bar on Wikipedia or something. It's a thing in Japan that I don't think I've seen anywhere else.
All right, I'll have to look it up. Go ahead. I'll figure this. I'll figure out if this is a Hooters or not. Really.
Yeah, we'll find one and do research.
So
later.
they end up at the Log Lady, which Turbo has informed me is also a Twin Peaks reference.
Yes.
It's just 1-to-1, just not obscure. So they're in there, and there's like it's awkward now because they're two teens who are in a romantic spot, and he's like, I didn't mean anything by this. Like,
see, that's why I thought it was like a hostess club, because when he said that, I thought he meant more like, I figured contextually she'd know they're hiding from someone, so that wasn't necessary, but he brought her to like kind of a seedy-ish place, and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything by bringing you here specifically, that kind of thing. Okay. It looks like it actually does look kind of analogous. Just like, I used to work at a snack. It's basically a toned down, cheaper version of a hostess club. The pay is less, and it isn't really a requirement to build up your own clientele. Do Dohan. I don't know what that is. Pretty much pour drinks like cigarettes, sing karaoke, chat with the customers, make sure they have a good time.
Yeah, as opposed to like a full-blown hostess bar, you don't get in a hostess bar. The hostess go and sit with the customers.
Mm-hmm. I've played Yakuza, yeah.
Yeah, so you know how it goes. You get like a private table, and you get hostesses to go to sit with the customer. Over here, they're just customers, just a bar. And you just have to talk to them and interact with them more than usually.
they encourage you to
that
flirt more. I guess.
Yeah. But that's like, it's like Hooters. Like they have wings. They talk to you. They don't really flirt. It's just like, hey, whatever. Yeah. Or the tilted kilt, I think, is another one they have now. Yeah. I've never been to that one though.
Yeah. Just as a quick aside,
now from a word from our sponsor, the tilted kilt.
hey, we got it inserted as you probably should not mention tilted kilt. No.
Oh, okay, really? All right.
I'm kidding. It's not true.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No, but I was gonna say that as a quick aside, remember when the guy has the gun and it shows the gun. They use the most, we just pulled this prop gun out. It's a snub-nosed revolver. No one ever uses, that's like 50s and 60s gun. That has never been used for anything in the modern age ever. The idea that someone, number one, could get one into Japan and then use it in a public place is hilarious.
I was actually really intrigued by the gun. I'm like, all right, is this like a detective's gun in Japan? Is this saying that the chief is actually bad or something? And then we actually do see his face, and I don't think it's anyone they've shown us before.
He's just some old guy. So they're there. So so in order to get Hitomi to kind of trust him a little bit more, Achi starts explaining himself. He starts talking about himself and who he is and, what he does around here. And she is not as forthcoming about anything about who she is. But she does explain the basic facts about what happened to her and everything. And there's definitely a little bit of teenage romance tension between them. Achi's oh, this girl she's so pretty. And but she tells the story and he's like, well, I'm gonna, she wants him to help her, but she doesn't want to continue to take this to the police, and she won't explain why.
And he's just like, yeah, can you explain what's going on? By the way, I'm super dumb.
That was great.
Oh,
yeah,
that was great.
Because also, it wasn't complicated at all what she said. She's like, so I have a kidnapping.
Yeah, she's like, all right, so my sister got kidnapped yesterday. He's like, wait, hold on, slow down.
I was thinking of that, that Simpsons episode where Professor Frank is explaining, this is a square, and Chief Wiggum's like, slow down, egghead. That joke, but...
So she explains it in a simpler way, and then he's like, okay, I'm gonna help you. And so she's heading out of the building, and he's gonna come with her, and they open the door, and the gunman is right there looking at them, and we get a full shot of him, and he's pointing the gun at them, and then it says, to be continued. But wait, the story's not totally over, because that's the end of Achi's route, but we need to finish Kano's route too.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go back to him, where he was chasing the man in black from earlier, and he chases him up onto a bridge over, a bridge that goes over traffic, and the man in black throws the case full of money down to a waiting man on a motorcycle who speeds away, and Kano, instead of tackling the dude, chases after the money, down to and of course there's no way, so both of them escape. He really fucked that one up, and I kept being like, where's the choice I make to make you not fuck this up? But there is none. He just totally lost it.
I just loved his reaction, when the guy is holding the briefcase over the edge, he's like, no, wait, don't do it, as if there was any...
It's just money!
Yeah. It's a lot of money, but, not even that much.
It's not his money. So he's, put way too much on that money, way too much value. He could have tackled the first guy and maybe got information out of him or something, but they didn't. Both of the guys escape. So there's at least 3 guys involved in this, I guess. Unless the guy on the motorcycle is also the old guy with the gun, which seems unlikely.
Can we just talk about what ineptitude Tokyo Metro Police have here, where they've lost technically the money and a second hostage now?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Achi ran off with her, and she's safe, but we don't know that, right? Yeah, they don't know.
Right. There's 50, and there's 50 of them.
Yeah.
Which is just the weirdest thing. Where are they going?
Why did they have 50? Why so many?
And why were none of them in the police box?
I know there's no other crime happening, like, at all.
Nope.
Thank God for Mean Clean, or at least the littering's taken care of. That's probably like we have plenty of vigilantes in Shibuya. It's fine. Don't worry. There's like another guy like Jaywalker Jay or something who like stops being, you gotta stay at that traffic light. Anyway.
So there's definitely more to Hitomi and her family than we know. There's something else going on for her to be like, I can't take this to the police.
It's got to be a Fargo situation, right? Where she was in on it and somehow it got to the police originally, and then, that's my prediction.
Yeah, that was that's initially what I thought as well. I was like, oh no, she's involved with these people. They kidnapped her sister on purpose. She's definitely been involved with this crap.
And I didn't think of it till just now, honestly. But I did say it before you, so technically.
See, I was thinking she realized suddenly that the police were like, at least one policeman.
Horrible at their job.
Well, yeah, they're bad, but I think there's also at least one evil police officer that is like the mastermind behind
this. See, I was thinking maybe they'd pull that trick where she's the evil twin, right? And then he falls in love with her, finds out she's evil, but at least he has the good twin to fall back on then as the love interest,
So that's the end of chapter 1. And then we get the continuation into the intro to chapter 2, which is the next hour.
We get it to be continued
Beep.
next time on 428 kind of movie.
We get a preview of the new characters.
Tell me that doesn't sound like 24.
It does.
It's very 24.
Yeah.
They do that. They do that exact thing on 24.
I keep waiting for the boop, boop.
Yep, the beep, beep.
Oh my god.
I watched 6 seasons of that garbage show.
I know, I watched so much of it. It was like the coolest fucking thing after 9/11 to watch.
It really was, yeah. What a fucking show.
Oh, we thought some things back then.
It was, yeah.
Long time ago.
I actually will defend some things about it, but that's another story for another time. Anyhow. Not past season 2, anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next time, it seems like there's, 5 characters to choose from?
Yep. Now, they're like, let's throw you in the deep end.
Now we get the entire cast of characters.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 in the tutorial.
Yeah. Is there any other fun stuff we wanted to talk about? Like, I don't know, like, there is one interesting bad end where you can fight with, what's his face? Achi and
Kano.
Yeah, thank you. Can fight, but like, or when they're about to, somebody hits Kano from behind, and it's the girl that Achi had helped before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're supposed to stop the scene between them where Kano gets knocked out with a book, but you can go back as Achi and do the same thing and find out who threw the book. And it's the girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Or earlier.
I thought she killed him at first, like, where he died, and then I'm like, holy god.
He drops like he's been shot.
Yeah, like, what a fucking glass skull that is. Jeez.
Oh, yeah, another thing is when you get shot on the ending, the bad endings where you get shot, your controller vibrates.
Oh, does it? I was using the keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. Like, that... I'm shocked that like made it through the port process and that my controller vibrated at the shot. It was funny. There was one like really good like very like dry humor kind of comment, which is during Achi's like in the beginning with the mean clean scene, and like the boys, the ruffians are like, let's go someplace more quiet, and if you click on let's go someplace more quiet, it's like, if you say this to a girl, if a guy says this to a girl, it means he wants to like take her to a cafe on a date, but if a guy says this to another guy, it means that he wants to go to an alley, they're gonna go fight in an alley or something like that. And
That's so weird.
It was like such an elaborate detail, like an elaborate joke to make over a detail of that, like over a very like common phrase. It was just sort of emblematic of what the tooltips are like.
But also, is that true about going someplace more quiet? It definitely isn't true in English. So, like,
No, yeah, right?
No.
like, take it outside, sure.
Yeah, I think this is another place where they struggled.
Take it outside.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to step outside. Not like, hey, you want to go somewhere more quiet? Maybe have a romantic dinner?
Yo,
A little tea? I'll fucking marry your ass.
Or go into a dark alley and get married. Better watch out.
how we just sit down, take it someplace a bit more quiet. We de-elevate this conversation, and we have a nice, good engagement between two human people. We could just do that. Is that something you want to do right here? Let's take it outside. It is a little noisy in here. We could just take it a little more quiet.
I'm gonna use so many I statements when I talk to you in order to not put you on edge. Catch this greeting card. Catch these greeting cards.
I'm listening. I'm hearing what you're saying to me. I'm not going to push that back at you. I'm just going to take it in and let's think about it a little bit. Okay? We're just going to take it in and think about it a little bit. See that, and then I will give you back my feedback. We'll see how this goes.
Look at you walk away and think about this and how to de-escalate it. I'm proud of you.
I'm just imagining this ruffian band of marriage counselors.
Oh my god, these are our side characters in this game now, and we'll just end every episode with an update of some side characters. One of them is Rako Takahashi. I don't know who the other one is.
I love it. Yes.
Rako Takahashi, marriage counselor, and Yakuza. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us for Chapter 1.
I assume you all at least took a look at who the characters are for the next chapter, because you go to the character selection screen.
Oh, yeah.
And anything you want to say about them?
One of them's a mascot.
I cheated. I saw a little bit of Tama.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, me too.
Tomo, I think, was in trailers and stuff.
There are two guys who don't look too interesting, and then there's Tama.
Midoriyama, I think some dude on a motorcycle, right? And then, I don't know, somebody else. I don't know. And then also Achi and Kano again. But I want to say Kano every time because it's stupid Mortal Kombat. But anyway, mispronouncing anything, like Raiden with a Y, whatever. Anyhow. All right.
Next time, we're going to talk about the second chapter. In part or in full.
Mostly Tama.
Mm-hmm. All right. So long, folks.